you're watching German Gyan. My name is Gyan and guys, today we are up with a new video and this new video is all about uncover the secrets of German grammar. Yes guys, you heard it correct. If you're facing problem in German grammar, then this video is just for you. Make sure to subscribe German Gyan. If you're watching for the very first time, then my name is Gyan. I must see you in the founder of German Gyan. German Gyan provides you online offline classes. We do provide teacher training program, exam preparation, brush up classes and whatnot. German Gyan is a one-stop solution for all your queries. Let's start this video because I am very excited. Are you? Let's go.
Let's uncover the secrets of German grammar together. So the first thing is that verb position mastery. So the question is why, and the answer is that word order determines the meaning and clarity of the sentence. So in main clause, the verb is in the second position. For example, you can say ich lese ein Buch. Now because this is a main clause, so the verb lesen is conjugated according to the subject at the same place, at the second place I mean. But like if you are writing a subordinate clause, then the verb will go at the end. For example, ich glaube, dass du recht hast means I believe that you are right. Now because das connector frames in a subordinate clause, that's why the verb hast is at the end of the sentence. So like if you are learning German, then remember verb position is a mystery and your sentences will be wrong if you are not placing the verb at the right position. And like an extra tip is that if you are framing a question, then your verb will come at the first position. So remember these things. The second topic is of modal verb. So when you are using a modal verb, then remember that the action verb comes in the infinitive form at the end of the sentence. Now modal verbs are essential for expressing abilities, desires and obligations. And while writing a sentence, so you need to remember that the modal verb is conjugated according to the subject in the second position, and the main verb or the action verb you can say that stays in the infinitive form at the end of the sentence. For example, I would like to read a book, so you can say ich möchte ein Buch lesen. So here I conjugated the verb möchten according to the subject at the second place, and the verb lesen goes at the end of the sentence. Now the next thing is adjective ending. So for some students it is very difficult to remember the genders of the noun, and now comes new thing. Here you have to place the endings of the adjectives according to the noun you are using for it. For example, if I'm saying that I have a obedient dog, so now I have to put the ending of the adjective obedient according to the noun or according to the gender of the dog. Like if it is masculine, then I need to use that. So adjective ending is a big thing, and according to the gender, case and the article of the noun, they modify. And there are three tables of adjective ending, that is for the bestimmt article, then for the unbestimmt article and then null article. So let's see an example. Let's see I want to say I see a beautiful dog. So the example will be ich sehe einen schönen Hund. Now here the adjective is schön, and here I have put the ending en according to the Hund. So that's the new thing, that you need to remember the table of the adjective ending and you need to put the endings of every adjective you are using. An extra insight is that always practice adjective ending with different articles to reinforce the pattern. The next is trennwahre Verben. In trennwahre Verben, the prefix is separated and it goes at the end of the sentence, and then the rest of the verb is conjugated according to the subject at the second place. And many common verbs are separable in German, affecting the word order. And remember, there are some verbs which look like a trennwahre verb, but they are actually not trennwahre verb. That means they are not going to separate. For example, verbs which starts with zer or ver, they looks like a trennwahre, but they are not actually. Now let's see an example. For example, I want to say I get up early, so I can say ich stehe früh auf. Now here the verb is aufstehen and the prefix auf goes at the end of the sentence, and the verb stehen is conjugated according to the subject at the second place. And remember, when using separable verbs in the subordinate clause, the prefix stays with the verb. That means it won't get separated. Next mystery is of two-way prepositions. So these prepositions switches between accusative and dative. So like you treated accusative when there is a motion in a sentence, and then you treated dative when there is no motion. For example, let's say I'm saying ich gehe in die Schule. Now here the preposition is in, and here I have used it as an accusative preposition because there is a movement. Like I'm saying that I'm going in the school. So like earlier I was outside the school, and now I'm going inside the school. So here there is a motion, there is a place of change. So the sentence is an accusative case. But if I say ich bin in der Schule, so here this is considered as a dative case because I'm saying that I'm in the school and there is no change of place or movement. And as you can see that there are changes in the sentences, like for example, for the first sentence I use the article die for the Schule, then in the second I use the article der for the Schule, just because first sentence was of accusative and the second sentence was of dative. Next topic is of relative clause. So relative clauses allows you to add more details to a noun in your sentence. So you can use relative pronouns according to the case of the sentence. For example, there is a table of relative pronoun for nominative case, accusative case, dative case and gyanative case. So you need to choose the correct article or the correct relative pronoun according to the case of the sentence. Now an example can be like I want to say that's the man who speaks German. So I can say das ist der Mann, der Deutsch spricht. So after the comma, the der which I have used, that is actually the relative pronoun. And remember that a relative clause always begins with a relative pronoun and ends with a verb getting conjugated according to the subject. And of course the verb goes at the end of the sentence. For example, in this the verb spricht is conjugated according to the subject and it is placed at the end of the sentence. So this is the relative clause. Next topic is conjunctive zwei, which is used for polite request and hypothetical situations. So this conjunctive zwei, this topic you will read in or study in A2 level also and then in B2 level also. So in A2 level you are going to study this topic in present tense, and then in the B2 level you are going to understand or read this topic in more detail in past tense. So like when you want to make a polite request, suggestions, or you want to explain some hypothetical situations, you can use this conjunctive zwei. And there is again different conjugation for like sein, haben, then modal verb, and like apart from all these verbs, if there is any extra like action verb, then for that you need to use würden plus infinitive. For example, let's say I want to say I would like to travel to Germany. So here you will say ich würde gern nach Deutschland reisen. Now remember in Kauswai when there is an action verb in a sentence, so würde is conjugated according to the subject at the second place and your action verb goes at the end of the sentence and it does not get conjugated. That means the action verb remains in the infinitive form. Now we have already discussed the sentence structure of modal verb where we use two verbs in a sentence. The one is modal verb which comes at the second place and another is an action verb which comes at the end of the sentence in an infinitive form. Now apart from this we have one more sentence structure which is su plus infinitive. We use this structure when we want to express purpose, obligation or intention. It means like if you are doing something and you have a reason or purpose of doing that thing, then you can use su plus infinitive. Now in this thing what you need to remember that again you are going to use two verbs in a sentence, but while using the second verb it is important that you write the su and then you write the action verb in an infinitive form. For example, let's say I want to say that I don't have time to eat. So I can say ich habe keine Zeit zu essen. Now there are some verbs like versuchen, anfangen, aufhören, which are. Now we all know that we don't use infinitive verb of any action verb with any other action verb. For example, you can use versuchen or lesen in a sentence without using su or any modal verb, right? But like there is a sentence structure of gyan plus infinitive. In this what you can do is you can use the verb gyan and any other action verb in an infinitive form without placing su or without using the sentence structure of modal verb. So this is basically used in future too or like for plans. This construction gyan plus infinitive is used to express an action that will happen in the near future or often translated as going to in English. And it's commonly used in spoken German when discussing immediate plans. For example, I want to say I'm going to eat tonight. So you can say ich gehe heute Abend essen. So in this sentence I have used the verb gyan, which is conjugated according to the subject, and then the second verb is essen, which is in the infinitive form. So this construction is often used instead of future tense in informal speech. They are often followed by su plus infinitive. Next topic is passive voice, which is usually taught in B1 level or A2 level. So the passive voice is used when the focus is on the action rather than the doer of the action. It means in these kind of sentences we tell like what work is going on, but not that who is doing this work. So in passive voice, the subject of the sentence receives the action and the verb is conjugated with the form of werden plus participe soi. Participe soi is the past participle of any action verb which we use in perfect tense. For example, let's say I want to say the book is being read by me. So das Buch wird von mir gelesen. So here the sentence structure is that werden is conjugated at the second place and the past participle of lesen is at the end of the sentence, which is lesen. Apart from adjective endings, we have comparative and superlative forms of adjective also. So this comparative form is used when you are like comparing two things. So at that time you use the comparative form of the adjective, and superlative is used when you give, like you want to tell that this particular thing possesses the highest degree of that adjective, so you use superlative. It allows you to compare things or to express the extreme. So the tip is that for the comparative thing you need to add er to the adjective, and for the superlative case use plus adjective and plus sten. For example, let's say I want to say that my brother is taller than me. So in this case I am comparing my brother with me, that he is taller to me. So I will say mein Bruder ist größer als ich. So the adjective is gross, but I have used er with this because it is the adjective, it is the comparative form of the adjective. But in the next sentence, if I want to say that is the biggest dog in the park, so like now I am telling that this is the biggest dog and like iske alawa there is no biggest dog. So you can say das ist der größte Hund im Park. Now what you need to remember is that some adjectives have irregular comparative and superlative forms. Like for the adjective good, you need to say good, besser and best. Like besser is the comparative form, and for example viel, there is another adjective, so the comparative form is mehr and the superlative form is meisten. So for the irregular adjectives you need to learn their forms as it is. Next is indirect speech, which is indirekter Rede, and this is taught in German B2 level. So indirect speech allows you to report what someone else has said without quoting them directly. And to form indirect speech, you often use das and change the verb tense, typically using conjunctive eins for formal reporting. For example, let's say I want to say that he says that he is coming tomorrow. So sagt, dass morgen kommt. Now remember that in indirekter Rede you need to learn the conjugations of the verb according to the K-eins. And in informal speech, conjunctive soi is often used instead of conjunctive eins for easier comprehension. And one more thing, like if you are learning or using, like you are writing a sentence of K-eins and you are writing the verb according to the K-eins, but it matches according to the conjugation of present tense, then instead of that conjugation you have to use the conjugation of K soi. So remember that thing while you are doing this K-eins topic.
So guys, how was this video? I hope now you are a master of German grammar. We'll catch you in the next one. Children, keep learning German with German Gyan. Take care.